Welcome. Have you ever been to a masquerade party where everyone wears a mask? Some of those masks have the feathers and beautiful jewels on them. Some other masks look like they're from superheroes. And then some masks are even kind of scary. What are those masks for? They're to cover up who the person who's wearing the mask. They're trying to keep people from identifying who they are. We do that in life. Sometimes it's intentional, and sometimes we don't even recognize that we're doing it. What is the cause? In this video, you're going to learn what people use to hide their low self-worth. Take a look at yourself to see if you do any of these. Now remember, you need to be real with yourself. I know admission can be hard, but it is the first step in allowing change to happen. So it is time for our weekly trivia question. Are you ready for it? Guess what you think the answer is and put in the comments what you think the answer is, and at the end of this video, I'll give you the answer and you can compare it to see how you did. Are you ready for the question? How many people wearing costume masks did it take to set a world record in 2015? So let me say it again. How many people wearing costume masks did it take to set a world record in 2015? Put your answers in the comment and we'll see how you did. This is the third video in the Self-Worth series. If you haven't seen the first two videos, click on the link to get access to those videos. Hi, I'm Pam McCloskey, Personal Development and Wellness Specialist. We create a pathway of tools and encouragement for women to thrive while alive. If you're returning or you haven't been here before, make sure you click on the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you're notified every time a new video is available. It's great to have you here. Make sure you say hi in the comments and don't forget to include your answer to the trivia question. Let's look at what people do to hide their self-worth, because often we don't want people to know that we feel bad about ourselves. That is extremely vulnerable. So what are the low self-worth substitutes? Well, one of them is to impress with status symbols. Maybe having a really good job, having a good position in life, maybe having lots of children, something that is a symbol, and for everyone it's different. Now what I think might impress other people may not be what you think would impress other people. Maybe it's being president of the company, or the secretary of a church, or the best mom in the world, because you are trying to impress. That is the word I want you to zone in on. You are trying to impress other people with your status. And the thing is that as you're doing that, what's really happening is you feel so bad about yourself that you don't want anyone to know it. So you will try to give a facade to other people about who you are. You put on that facade and you create a person that really you're not, but you want other people to think you are. Now, there is nothing wrong with having accomplishments in life. And I strongly encourage accomplishing goals and dreams. But the thing here is that you try to impress other people with those accomplishments because you feel bad about who you are, who the true you is. Now, sometimes living beyond your income, being financially extravagant, spending money, even money that you don't have. Maybe you're going into debt because you're trying to buy things that you really can't afford, or that you're just living beyond what you really can afford, or what your job or your husband's job or whatever will give you. That is a deep, deep hole, because here's what's going to happen. Often We have people in our life who are watching us ever so closely. And they're watching to see us fail, or they're watching to see what we're doing. Why? Because and this is a good example. Have you ever had maybe a doting mother-in-law who will comment every time you buy something and make comments about how hard her son works to provide those things? Or you have someone in your life that just seems to zone in on things that you do, and you think, why are you even paying attention? Get a life of your own. Those are the things that sometimes we can look at ourselves and say, I am great because I can do this, or I have this. That's why being addicted to shopping can be detrimental to a household, because you only have so much money to put out. But a lot of times what's happening is that you're shopping to make you feel good, because you can get high shopping. Really, you can, because you produce those same chemicals in your brain that you would if you went out on the street and you got a few drugs and you took them. It's a self-produced one. And so every time that you shop to try to hide what you're feeling inside, well, then you have to shop a little bit more, and you have to shop a little bit more to get that first high. And really, you can never get that first high again. So trying to get things and buy things to make yourself feel better only puts you deeper and deeper into a hole of low self-worth. Not a good way to go. Hanging out with important people is another way to cover up your low self-worth, because if you're with people who seem important, then you must be okay. They must really like you if you get to hang out with them. Oh, look at me. I'm with so and so, and look at the position they have, or look how much money they have, or look at how popular they are. It's kind of like wanting to be a friend to the top cheerleader or the most popular person in school, because you want people to think that you must be popular too. So being able to have someone in your life, but see, you have to ask yourself, are they really important to you, or is their status important to you? Is that relationship one that is nurturing and growing, or is it one that you only have because you want people to look at you and say, oh, well, look, she must be somebody if she knows so and so? Constantly striving for recognition. Now, I said this in another video. There are personalities where they need to know that they're doing well so they can keep doing good. They need to know what they're doing really is helping, because if it's not, they don't want to waste their time. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about someone who is striving for recognition. They want people to recognize them. Why? Because they feel so bad about themselves that if they can get people to recognize them and recognize all the good they do or all their accomplishments, then people won't see the real them. That's what this is all about, is hiding what you feel the real you is. But are you starting to catch on that how what you see may not be the real you? And you're hiding something that just needs to change. Perfectionism is another one where you try to be perfect. You try to do everything perfect. You try to make sure. Why? Because failure is not an option. You, in your mind, you are not allowed to fail. You have to do things right. Maybe you're overly responsible and you take on way more than what's yours, and you try to be perfect. I'm going to tell you something. You cannot be perfect in every area of your life. You can strive to be better. That's different than trying to be perfect. But if you are trying to be perfect to win the approval of others, you're going to be highly disappointed in yourself because you are not going to be able to achieve that. And then you're going to be disappointed. And I'm sure as I'm saying this, you can look back on your life and you can see times where where you did make mistakes or where you didn't hit the mark that you were trying to hit because you were trying to be perfect. Some people will make sure that their house is spotless and perfect. Things need to be folded a certain way and it needs to be perfect. Anytime that you see a perfectionist, you have to stop and think, why? What are they trying to cover up that they need to be perfect? Okay, sometimes it's just overly competitive. I talked a little bit about this in the very beginning, where you're always trying to one up somebody, where they may say something and you will one up them. Have you ever met someone like that where you say something and man, they have it worse, or they do it better, or they have more, and or they're more sick than you are, and you just feel like, oh my goodness, what I'm saying and what I'm going through is just not important to them. We can do that without even knowing we're doing it. And we have to be very cautious of not doing that, because what we are doing is we're just covering up. We've got that mask on and we're trying to hide. Now, another one is putting others down. People will put other people down because when you don't feel good about yourself, you will criticize and pick out everybody's wrongs and everybody's imperfections to make yourself feel better. So if you know someone that does that, I remember I was talking to a woman and she was saying that her one coworker just puts everybody down. She nitpicks and she says, I wonder what she talks about me whenever I'm not around. Yeah, right? And so, and what I said to her was, gee, I wonder what has caused such low self-worth in her that she feels that she has to put everyone down to make herself feel better. And she said, wow, I never really thought about it that way, but it's very true. It is one of probably the biggest ways that people do cover up low self-worth. Have you ever met someone who is loud? They're just loud and or seem overly confident. That's another cover up, because what they're doing is if they can get you to feel or think that they are confident, or I knew someone that you would have thought that they were very confident. They were very loud. They talked like they were confident. But when you really got to know them, you began to realize they weren't confident at all. It was a masquerade. It was a cover up. It was something that they wanted other people to see, but it really wasn't them. They didn't feel good about themselves at all, but they put on that mask to make everyone think that they were. They were small. Growing up, they were always small. So what they learned is if they were loud, people would pay attention to them. And as adults, when you're loud, sometimes it's offensive. And sometimes people don't want to be around other people who are loud. And there's a time to be loud, but I'm talking about the person who will just talk above other people and over them, and they are trying to get that attention, and they're always telling all of their accomplishments, and they want you to see the confidence in them. You can be humble and be confident. You don't have to allow everyone to see, hey, here I am. There's nothing humble about that. And there is a beautiful confidence that you can have whenever you're working on your own self-worth. A healthy self-worth does not need, anyone who has a healthy self-worth, they do not need other people to recognize them. They don't need to prove themselves. Now the answer to the trivia question: how many people wearing costume masks did it take to set a world record in 2015? The most people wearing costume masks is 30,050. And it was achieved by the Alliance in Motion Global Incorporation in the Philippines on May 31st, 2015. It was the AIM Global's 9th anniversary, and the theme was put on happiness, or be happy. So they all wore, or they all had emoji masks that they wore to break the world record. How did you do? Let me know in the comments. And if you're tired of running yourself to exhaustion and you want tools to help break free from people pleasing, click on the link to get your copy of Time for You: 5 Simple Habits to Eliminate People Pleasing. Be sure you join the Thrive Well Alive membership group for helpful tools, encouragement, and support. Like this video if it was helpful for you, and make sure you pass it forward by sharing it with your friends. I guarantee you that there's someone you know that could benefit from it. If you missed the videos before this one in the Self-Worth series, click on the link to access them. Keep moving forward to Thrive Well Alive. I'll see you in the next video.